today's daily news analysis, I have taken these topics from the Hindu. So the first article is talking regarding the Naga Peace Deal. Second article is talking regarding the Nilgiri Biosphere Conservation, and third article is regarding the COP29, which is going to happen in Baku. So that is focusing on the methane diplomacy, and we have taken two prelim snippets also, one regarding the CBD, conservation, biodiversity conservation, and next one regarding the analog space mission. So without further delay, let's move on to the first article. So this is talking regarding the Naga Peace Deal only. Naga Peace Deal only. So this will be coming under the internal security part. Internal security part. So that is in the GS paper 3. So we'll be talking what is actually the historical context of this Naga Peace Deal, what is the situation there, and what are their demands now. Alright, so let's start with the previous year question which was asked regarding the northeastern insurgency. The northeastern region of India has been infested with insurgency for a very long time, analyze the major reasons for the survival of armed insurgency in this region. Naga issue is also coming under the northeast insurgency only. So we can expect question from that also. The context is Naga national political groups urge the union government to finalize the Naga Peace Pact. So this is based on a 2019 agreement, based on a 2019 agreement. So they wanted to finalize this Naga Peace Pact. So we'll be discussing what is this Naga national political groups and all. We'll be discussing in the session. And also this Naga tribes body, they have issued deadline to the Nagaland government to for feedback on autonomous territory, especially in the eastern part of Nagaland, especially in the eastern part of Nagaland. So we will see what is the issues with this eastern part of Nagaland also. Okay, so we'll start with the historical context itself. So what is the historical context of this Naga issue? So the first invaders who came to this Nagaland region, they were Britishers only. They came in around 1830. So that is early 1800s itself. So why they entered Nagaland? Because they were having tea plantations. They were having tea plantation, especially in the Assam region. Assam region. So at that time it was everything was Assam only. So tea plantations, and also the trade routes to Burma and all, that was through Nagaland. So these Naga people, they were raiding these trade routes. So to curb that, the Britishers actually came to this Nagaland region. Slowly what they did is like they exerted the political authority over Nagaland, and around 1880s. Around 1880s, Nagaland was under the informal control of the Britishers itself. To curb all these things, to counter all these things, in 1918, those people, they created something known as a Naga Club. This is kind of a semi-political entity. So they even gave the petitions to the Simon Commission. Simon Commission in 1929. 1929. So this is regarding the first initial political organization which was created in the Nagaland. So later in 1946, another important political organization is coming, that is Naga National Council. So this became the main Naga political organization, and it was formed by a person. It was led by a person known as Angami Fisu. Angami Fisu. So why this organization was formed in 1946? Because this year is very important. 1946. 1946. It was almost sure that India will be given independence. So this Naga people feared that if India is getting independent, they will also have to be part of India, and their autonomy will be gone. So what they did is like they created an organization and they declared their independence in 1947. The date is very interesting. That is August 14. That is, India got independence on August 15. So one day before itself, they declared their independence. So this is, but still, once India became a sovereign country, the Indian government didn't accept this. And it led to many clash between this Indian government as well as the local Naga political factions. And in 1958, this became very severe. The tensions escalated into a armed conflict itself. So at that time we enacted something like the AFSPA. AFSPA is Armed Force Special Powers Act. So it gave the military broad powers in this Naga region. So that is regarding the history till 1958. So what happened after 1958 is After 1958, in 1963, considering all this demand, in 1963, the government granted statehood to Nagaland. Till then, Nagaland was not a proper state. So, 1963, this Nagaland area was bifurcated and it was granted a statehood. So, it is actually a partial recognition. Why it is a partial recognition? Because Naga people wanted to be out of India, and they want to create a country. They sometimes they call it as Nagaland, Greater Nagaland. So this is just a partial recognition, that is within India they are given little autonomy. But still these people were um, not satisfied with this granting statehood. They still had issues and they again fought against the Indian government. So this happened in 1963 and Nagaland became the 16th state of India. 16th state of India. So dissatisfied, they actually again protested, but in 1964 we had a peace talk. We had a peace talk with the government. The local people, they had a peace talk with the government. Again, they were not satisfied. The clashes went on. OFSPA was again implemented little more. So in 1980, another important organization is coming. That is NSCN. NSCN stands for Nagaland Social Council, National Social Council of Nagaland. National Social Council, National Social Council of Nagaland. So this was formed and they again reignited the calls for independence. Their major demand was they want something called as a Nagalim. They want something known as a Nagaland. Nagaland means Greater Nagaland. Again, after the formation of the NSCN, this also became factions. One is NSCN IM. One is NSCN IM, that was under Isaac and Muiwa. Isaac and Muiwa. Two factions, Isaac and Muiwa. Another one was Kaplan. Another one was Kaplan. So these two factions also factions were also formed out of this NSCN. 1997, we had a ceasefire with this NSCN IM. Isaac and Muiwa, we had a ceasefire, but still this Kaplan faction was again fighting. 2015, the government signed a framework agreement with this NSCN. Framework agreement with the NSCN, and they granted little more autonomy and little more self-governance rights to this Naga people. So let's see the constitutional safeguards given for this Nagaland. The main constitutional safeguard is Article 371A. So Article 371A granted Nagaland a special autonomy. Special autonomy regarding what? Religious practices, cultural practices, and even some areas of governance also. Nagaland was granted statehood in 1963. So this act was enacted in 1962. So based on this only, Nagaland was considered as a state. Next, let's see what is this Naga National Political Group or NNPG. So in 2017, I've already mentioned it, like we had different organizations like NSCN, in that itself IM was there, Kaplan was there. So combining the combination of seven political groups, all the seven political groups combined together, they came together to form the Naga National Political Groups. It was formed in 2017. So they thought that instead of fighting in different realms, they are coming together, they will be getting a better say. So negotiate the peace settlements with the Indian government. One major demand was to take away this OSPA also. Their major demand is practical autonomy, advocating for cultural recognition, regional governance and economic development. But the key point is it is within India. It is within India. They are not looking for something. They are not looking for breaking away from India. They want this kind of autonomy and cultural recognition within India. That is a key point of this NNPG. And 2019, they actually signed an agreed position with the Indian government. So now they want to implement this agreed position. So that is in the that was in the news. So here it will be a peaceful resolution of the Naga issue. So that is said in this agreed position. Now let's see what is the agreed position. The major demand is the recognition of Naga identity. So this Naga people, they have their own customary laws are there. Their own customary laws are, and even they work based on village councils. They work based on village council. So they want all these things to be brought back, given back to the Naga. Okay. Another thing is they wanted a separate passport page. In India, we have only one passport. So one passport in the sense in that we are Indian citizens only. Here they want a separate passport page. So they will be Indian citizens plus they will be having some recognition that they are Naga people, you know, right, in US and all, you can be a citizen of US as well as you can be a citizen of that particular state. So this is some sort of that kind of thing only. And also another demand is bicameral legislature in Nagaland. As of now, Nagaland is having a unicameral legislation. Unicameral. You know, right, what is unicameral and bicameral? Unicameral means there will be only one house will be only there. Bicameral means there will be two houses will be there. So as of now they are having unicameral legislature, and in this there are 60 members are there. 60 members are there in this unicameral legislature. They wanted it to be a bicameral with an upper house known as Nagaland Federal Hoho. Nagaland Federal Hoho. So they are demanding that this Nagaland Federal Hoho, they will be deciding on the Naga traditional customary law. This customary laws will be decided by this Nagaland Federal Hoho. So this is their one demand which they have put forward. Another one is executive and financial powers for the regions, grant specific regions greater control over local governance. This specific region includes mainly eastern part of Nagaland. Eastern part of Nagaland. Okay. So these are the major provisions in the 2019 agreed position. Now let's see what is the frontier Naga territory. What is this frontier Naga territory? Mainly this is in the eastern part of Nagaland. Eastern part of Nagaland. So in eastern part of Nagaland, 6 eastern districts are there. Longden, Mong, Tuinsang, Noklak, Shamato, Kifire. These are the 6 districts in eastern part of Nagaland. So they wanted these 6 districts to be given little more autonomy. Okay, so this is actually a proposed autonomous region in Nagaland. So it is to be having their own administrative laws, their own legislation, and their own financial power. So this is the major demand of this Eastern Nagaland People's Organization. Eastern Nagaland People's Organization. This movement is led by ENPO. Eastern Nagaland People's Organization. So they are behind seeking this autonomy, more autonomy for the eastern part of Nagaland. So that is Frontier Naga Territory, or FNT, consisting of the 6 districts in the eastern part of Nagaland. So why they are actually demanding this FNT? One is economic neglect. Eastern Nagaland has been lagged behind in development. What kind of development? All sorts of development. For example, this Mon and Tuisang district. Mon and Tuisang district, they are having the lowest literacy rate as well as the highest poverty rate. Lowest literacy rate and highest poverty rate in this area. And also administrative disparity is also there. So they wanted little more freedom in their local and also local decision making. For example, you know, where is Kohima? This is Kohima. This is Kohima. Kohima is the capital of Nagaland. So here it is Kohima, and these are the eastern part. So mostly this development will be happening in this area only, western as well as central part only. Eastern part is mostly neglected. Okay, even the many states in northeast are also claiming the same thing only, that since they are far away from Delhi or far away from the decision making centers, they are being neglected. Same is happening within Indra state within Nagaland. Okay, so that is another issue, and also political issues are also there. Demand for local representation. As of now, I told right, there are 60 seats, assembly seats in Nagaland. So among the 60 seats, 20 seats are given to this eastern part. 20 seats are given to this eastern part based on population, but only 2 ministers are there. Nagaland is having 12 ministers. So out of this 12 ministers, only 2 ministers are from this eastern part. So they are not getting an opportunity to be in the decision making process. So that is also one major issue. And also this cultural preservation is also very important. So eastern part of Nagaland is having an entirely different culture compared to the western part. For example, they have a very famous tribe known as Konyak tribe. They were head hunters and all. Earlier they were hunting the heads and they'll be keeping it like a locket. So that kind of thing was there. And also they have a very important festival also. Howling. Howling festival by this Konyak. So this is to announce the arrival of the spring season. So other than that, Konyak, even Chang tribes, Chang tribe. So Chang tribe is also a very popular tribe residing in the eastern part. So they have their own different culture, which is entirely different from the western part of Nagaland. So they want to preserve that. They want to preserve that. For that also, they need administrative recognition. So this is also one of the reasons why they are demanding autonomy. So now, what is the key challenge in implementing all these things? One is political complexities. What do you mean by political complexities? Stalled talks. Stalled talks means what? Stalled talks means talks are not happening. If talks are happening means we can decide, right? We can decide what can be done, but it is not happening. Especially this ENPO, Eastern Nagaland People Organization. They have threatened to boycott the 2022 elections. Threatened to boycott the 2022 election. So this is a very huge step by this ENPO. Another one is intra-group tensions within these groups. Within these group itself, they have differing demands. They have different demands. So that is also one issue. For example, this NNPG. What NNPG wants is they want autonomy within India. They want autonomy within India. What about NSC and IM? They want something known as Nagali. Nagali means what? Nagali means a different country. They NNPG want autonomy within India. They want to be part of India, but they need more autonomy. NSC and IM, Isaac Moiva, they want a different country known as Nagaland or Nagalimore, Greater Nagaland. So that that even includes parts of Myanmar also. Some areas of Manipur will be there, some areas of Nagaland will be there, and even some areas of Myanmar. So they want this much territory. So differing demand is also one issue. Another one is security reasons. Again, in 2023, we have renewed this AFSPA. So all these groups, they are against this AFSPA Act, Armed Force Special Powers Act. Even many human rights violations were also against these people. So they want this also to be discontinued, but still we have renewed it. So that is also one major issue. So what we can do to avoid all these things and give them better treatment. So one is balanced autonomy. Expand this autonomy within the constitutional framework. We don't have to create a new country. We don't have to create anything, but still give more autonomy. For example, local autonomous councils can be created. Local autonomous councils can be created. This is one major suggestion which many committees have recommended. Another one is focus on development. Obviously, wherever issues are there, this should be the first step. Focusing on development, especially targeted socio-economic program. For example, if eastern part of Nagaland is not having much development, means we have to target them. We have to target that specific tribes. If they want rice, we can give rice. If rice is not their demand, we have to be more specific. What they want, we have to give that. So that kind of thing. Also, infrastructure should be there, like road should be there, railway should be there. So these kind of things should also be there. And another one is there should be an inclusive peace agreement. As of now, we don't have an inclusive peace agreement. We have agreement like ceasefire agreement with NSC and IM, Isaac Moiva. So like that only, we are not considering everyone. We are not considering everyone. Why we are not able to consider? Because they have different demands. So that is also another issue. So we have to sit together and we have to discuss and make a inclusive peace accord. Okay, so that is also one thing which we can do. So that is regarding the Nagaland issue. Let's move on to another topic. Nilgiris has shared wildness. This was an editorial which was written in Hindu. This will be coming under the environment section. So that is GS paper 3. GS paper 3. So here is one previous year question which was asked in 2000. 19. Which of the following are in Agasthyamala Biosphere Reserves? Here also we are talking about Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. So questions regarding the extent of biosphere reserves and all is important. Which of the following are in Agasthyamala Biosphere Reserve? Many wildlife sanctuaries and national parks are given. So you have to identify which all are part of the Agasthyamala Biosphere Reserve. Okay, so what is the context here? On International Day of Biosphere Reserve. International Day of Biosphere Reserve is on November 3rd. That is tomorrow. Tomorrow is International Day for Biosphere Reserve. So a new documentary is going to be released. Nilgiri is a shared Nilgiri is a shared wilderness. So in this, it is highlighted what are the issues in this Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, what are the conservation efforts, and what is actually the success of this conservation effort. And also this Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve is in the limelight due to the increased environmental pressures, mainly due to tourism and also infrastructure and all. So all these things will be highlighted in this documentary. So this documentary is run by this person only, Rohini Neelekani only. Alright, so that is the context, and let's see what is a biosphere reserve. So what is a biosphere reserve? It is an internationally designated area. Internationally designated area. So who designates? Some international organization only. So UNESCO. UNESCO is an international organization which is designating this biosphere reserve. So it is representing significant natural as well as cultural landscape. Natural means it's already there, nature. Cultural means what? Some human involvement is also there, right? So basically this is an example of how humans and nature can coexist. Nature plus humans. It is not just a natural conservation alone, but still even human conservation, human cultural identity. For example, the tribal people, that is also being considered while creating a biosphere reserve. So what is actually the criteria for selecting a biosphere reserve? One, it should be having a protected minimally disturbed core area. What do you mean by a core area? Core area means human activity is minimal. Human activity is minimal or prohibited. Either minimal or prohibited. That is core area. Another one is large enough to support all traffic levels. So what do you mean by traffic levels? Traffic levels means we have different levels, like we have producers are there. Producers are there. That's in the heterotrophs. And after that, we in the top level we will be having, for example, humans will be there in the top level. Tiger will be in the top level. Eagle will be in the top level. So primary producers to top predators. So that is a trophic level. Okay, so it should be large enough to support all trophic level. Obviously, it should be a larger area, not a very small area. For example, if you take some very small grassland or something and declare, we cannot declare it as a biosphere reserve. Okay. Another one is engages local communities in the biodiversity effort. Local communities in the biodiversity effort. For example, example of Nilgiri, we can take Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve itself. There are a community known as Todas is there. Todas. So these Todas are well known for their sustainable agricultural practices. Sustainable agricultural practices mean without harming the nature itself, they are involved in this their day-to-day activity. So local communities in biodiversity effort, and also conservation of trees. So everything is part of their daily life itself. Also preserving the traditional tribal or rural lifestyle. Another very good example will be Sundarbans. Sundarbans spanning around in India as well as Bangladesh. So they are also their traditional tribal activities like fishing, honey collection. So they are adapted to the mangrove ecosystem of that region. So it is part of the conservation effort also, and also it is a traditional tribal activity. Okay, so every biosphere reserve will be having three zones will be there. Three zones will be there. One is the core zone. Core zone means here the human activity will be very less. Human activity will be very less and highly, even if it is also it is highly restricted. Okay, buffer zone will be, this is the buffer zone. So core will be highly restricted. Buffer zone means little more relaxations are there. So in the buffer zones we have activities like research will be there, education will be, very limited tourism will be there in buffer zone. And finally the transition zone. So after transition zone it is actually the normal settlement area, agriculture, everything will be there. So in this transition zone everything should be sustainable activities. Sustainable activity means without harming the nature itself, it should be there. So that is a transition zone. So these are the three areas, three zones of the biosphere reserve. So now let's see what is Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. So Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve was recognized in 1983. Now we know what is a biosphere reserve. Okay, so recognized in 1986 and it was included in the UNESCO's Man and Biosphere Reserve program. UNESCO's Man and Biosphere Reserve program was a global initiative. Global initiative which is taking into consideration the biosphere reserves in across the world. So this was Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve was the first biosphere to be added from India. Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve was the first biosphere reserve to be added from India. So where is it located? The area is in Western Ghats. It is in Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve is part of Western Ghats. So which all states are there in Western Ghats? Many states are there, but Nilgiri Tamil Nadu is there, Kerala is there and Karnataka is there. So Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka. Many national parks and wildlife sanctuaries located across Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu are therein are part of this Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Okay, so now you have got an idea regarding what is the expanse of this Biosphere Reserve. So this much national parks are there. Okay, more about Nilgiri. Some prelims related facts. So, Biosphere Reserve. So, Mudumalai National Park. Where is Mudumalai National Park? It is in Tamil Nadu. So, Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve is having Mudumalai National Park, Mukurthi National Park. Mukurthi National Park is also in Tamil Nadu. Silent Valley National Park. Silent Valley National Park is in Kerala. And Wayanadu Wildlife Sanctuary. That is also in Kerala. So, these are some of the protected areas under which is coming under the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. And another important fact regarding Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve is it is having a diversity of forest. It is having a diversity of forest. Why it is known as diversity? Usually forest means it will be either evergreen forest, either it will be deciduous forest, either it will be Sundarbans, it will be mangrove forest. So here it is not like that. There is a diversity of forest. One is tropical evergreen rainforest. Evergreen rain forest. So that is there. And also we have moist deciduous forest. Moist deciduous forest, mountain forest, mountain ecosystem, mountain forest, and very important, Shola grasslands. Shola grassland means that Shola is something very much unique to the Western Ghats. Shola grasslands means high altitude grasslands. High altitude grasslands. Usually high altitude we see this very high, very tall trees only, but here it is like short trees or short herbs also we can see in this national park. So that is uh, uh, Shola grasslands and some of the important tribals. These tribals are also from prelims point of view it is very important. Toda tribes, Irula tribes, Kurumba tribes and Kota tribes. So these are the some of the popular tribes in the Nilgiri. They have their own unique cultural practices also. Okay. All right. So what is this UNESCO's Man and Biosphere program? So it was initiated by UNESCO in 1971. A program which was initiated by UNESCO in 1971. Basically, this is an intergovernmental scientific initiative. Intergovernmental scientific initiative that integrates natural, social science and economic and education. So basically, it is not just natural conservation alone. We have both human plus nature. Both human, that is cultural elements are also taken into consideration and also natural elements are also taken into consideration. So the aim is to improve the relation between people and their environment. People and their environment. So that is the purpose of this initiative. So as of 2024, we have 18 notified biosphere reserve. 18 notified biosphere reserve in India. In India, among them 12 are recognized by UNESCO's Man and Biosphere program. They have their own criteria. So based on that, 12 are recognized. Okay. So Nilgiri is recognized, Agastyamalai is recognized, Gulf of Mannar is recognized, Panna, Panchmarhi, Simlipal, Sundarbans, Nokrek, Kanchenjunga in Sikkim, Nanda Devi in Uttarakhand, and Nokrek. So these are the national parks which are recognized. Sorry, biosphere reserve which are recognized by UNESCO. Okay, six are not recognized. So that's it regarding Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve and Man and Biosphere Program of UNESCO. So next article. So next article, it is talking regarding methane diplomacy. So COP29. So COP29 is going to happen in Baku in Azerbaijan. So there they will be focusing on the methane diplomacy. So here we will be discussing what is methane diplomacy and some facts regarding the COP also. Okay. So this is important from the GS3 paper. Again, environment related GS3 environment paper. So let's see a question which was asked related to this. Which of the following statement is correct about deposits of methane hydrate? Methane hydrate. Okay, so here also some facts regarding methane hydrate as given. You have to uh, uh, identify which all are the correct answers. It was asked in 2019. So the context is 2019 Baku. Baku is the capital of Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan. You can note it for the places in news and also global leaders will be focusing on setting a new climate finance goal. New climate finance goal with methane reduction as their key agenda. So here it is talking regarding methane diplomacy. Methane diplomacy. These terms are important. Okay. Alright, so let's quickly understand what is methane, why methane is a problematic thing. So methane is a short-lived but high-potent greenhouse gas. What do you mean by short-lived? Short-lived means how many years or what duration it will be in the atmosphere. So based on that only we will be categorizing it as short-lived and long-lived. Methane is the duration of methane will be just around 12 years only. 12 years, you might think 12 years is a very huge time period, but carbon dioxide is another greenhouse gas. So carbon dioxide can even be there for centuries. Many centuries also carbon dioxide can be there. So compared to that, this is a short lived only, but still the potent is very much high. Okay, carbon dioxide, the damage which carbon dioxide which can stay for centuries is making, methane can also make the similar kind of damage. So that is very crucial. Okay, so roughly 30% of the global emissions, 30% of the global emissions are due to methane. So that is a quantum of methane pollution. Okay. Okay, so what are the sources of methane emission? Mainly from human activities only. One from livestock rearing, even paddy cultivation, rice cultivation. That is also waste management from the landfills and all. Methane can be uh, methane can be produced, and also fossil fuel extraction. So these are some of the areas, and also this is very harmful also. Why it is harmful? Because it can mainly causes respiratory issues. Respiratory issues can be caused by this methane, and also cardiovascular problems can also can also be there due to this methane emission. So let's see what is a COP. What is COP and why they have taken this methane. So COP means Conference of Parties. COP means Conference of Parties. So this Conference of Parties are part of the UN Annual Climate Conference. UN Annual Climate Conference, we call it as UNFCCC. UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention for Climate Change. United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So that is UNFCCC. Okay. So convening countries to enhance the climate action. So where it originated? It originated in 1992 only. Very popular summit known as a Rio Summit. Very popular summit known as the Rio Summit. Many other organization conferences also happened. UNCBD, Conference on Convention on Biodiversity, and also we had on desertification. Like that, many were there. UNFCCC was one among them. Okay, so that is the origin, and this they will be meeting every year. Every year they will be meeting. So this is their 29th meeting. 29th meeting, and this will be held in Baku. This will be held in Baku in Azerbaijan. So what is the significance of this particular summit? It is known as it is often dubbed as a finance COP. It is often dubbed as a finance COP. Why it is known as finance COP? Every COP will be having some sort of agenda will be there, and some sort of focus will also be there. Paris, we have Paris Climate Summit was there. So like that, COP 21. So this will be focusing on the finance, how we can finance this climate initiative. So that is the main agenda of this. So that is why it is known, that is why this is dubbed as a finance COP. And in finance COP itself, this is focusing more on the methane emissions or methane diplomacy. Okay. All right. So now let's understand what is this methane diplomacy. So methane diplomacy means it is emphasizing on collaborative international action to cut methane emissions due to its potent short-term climate impact. We have already discussed what is the issues with methane. So basically, this is a collaborative international action to reduce the impact of methane. Okay, so that is methane diplomacy. So what are the initiatives? One is Global Methane Pledge. Global Methane Pledge is having around membership of around 100 countries, and the aim is to reduce methane emission by 30% by 2023. So this global methane pledge is an initiative of United States and European Union. It's actually a initiative of United States as well as European Union. So aim is to reduce methane emissions by 30% by 2030. Another important initiative is Methane Alert and Response System, MARS, Methane Alert and Response System. So this is a initiative by UNEP, United Nations Environment Program. United Nations Environment Program, UNEP. So they initiated this Mars Methane Alert and Response System. So they will be using a satellite data to detect methane emissions globally, and they'll be notifying the stakeholders. So this is the purpose of this Mars. Okay, so these are some of the missions. So let's see some of the Indian missions also. Indian efforts in this methane management. One is Harida Dhara. It was developed by ICAR, Indian Council of Agricultural Research. ICAR, Indian Council of Agriculture Research. So basically, it will be dealing with methane emissions from cattle. So anti-methogenic feed supplement which reduces methane emissions from cattle by 70 to 20% and can also enhance the milk production. That is also another important thing which will be getting. So methane emissions will be reduced and also milk production will also be improved. So obviously farmers will be taking this. So that's a very good initiative. Another one is the National Action Plan on Climate Change, NAPCC, launched in 2008. So this is basically an umbrella scheme. Umbrella scheme means it will be having different missions will be there. So here there are 8 missions are there. 8 missions are there for various factors like Ganga regeneration, like that many missions are there. So it needs to increase awareness about climate change threats and responsive measures. So that is the main purpose of this NAPCC. 8 missions, 8 submissions are there for this NAPCC. Okay. Alright, so that is regarding methane diplomacy. Now let's move on to some prelim snippets. So prelim snippets, very important. One is Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, KMGBF. Okay, so this is part of CBD, UNCBD, United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity. So that is CBD. So that COP is also happening. COP 16, that is happening in Colombia. So there very important term is coming, that is Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. So we will see what is this framework. So Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, it is an international agreement adopted in December 2022 in during the COP 15. So now it is COP 16. So this was taken during the COP 15. Okay. So what is the aim? To halt and reverse the biodiversity loss by 2030. Halt and reverse the biodiversity loss by 2030, setting a global roadmap for living in harmony with nature. So long-term goals will be there. We have long-term goals as well as short-term goals will be there. So how we can actually reduce this biodiversity loss? For that they have made a framework. Okay, so we'll see what are the long-term goals. One is to enhance ecosystem integrity. Improving the resilience and connectivity of ecosystem, expanding the nature lineage. For example, take the example of Amazon. So Amazon is having many issues like the forest degradation, like that. So we can restore the degraded ecosystem, especially the forest. So that will be a very good example for this enhancing ecosystem integrity. Another one is sustainable biodiversity use. Ensure the biodiversity useful sustainably to support people and ecosystem. You know, in country known as Costa Rica. Costa Rica ecotourism is managed. Ecotourism is very much promoted. So environment is also managed. At the same time, people will also be getting their revenues coming from tourism. So that is a very good example under sustainable biodiversity use. Another one is fair benefit sharing. Equitably sharing the benefits from genetic resources. Here, a very important protocol is there, Nagoya Protocol of CBD only, Nagoya Protocol. So this is talking regarding fair benefit sharing only. You should ensure that countries and communities are sharing the genetic resources properly. Another one is implementation support, securing financial and technological resources for effective action. A very important initiative is Global Environmental Facility. Global Environmental Facility. So they will be providing the funds for biodiversity conservation. Okay, so these are some of the long-term goals which can be taken from, which can be done. Key targets 2030. So one is protecting 30% of the global land, freshwater and marine habitat, and another one is so conservation. Conservation means protecting the 30% of the existing. 30% of the existing. Restoration means what? Restoration means it has already gone, so we have to restore that 30%. Restore the 30% of the degraded ecosystem. Another one is reducing harmful subsidies to eliminate the 500 billion in biodiversity harming. So there is a very good initiative also, 30 into 30 initiative. 30 into 30 initiative, it is actually a project by US and Canada to protect the 30% of the global land. Regarding restoration, there is a project known as Global Green Wall. Global Green Wall. In the name itself, it is kind of clear only. So in Sahel region, in Africa's Sahel region, there are some degraded land. So they wanted to restore this. Okay. Reducing harmful subsidy. European Union. Take the example of European Union. European Union is reducing the subsidies of the subsidies which they are providing for agriculture. So that is also. Other one is resource mobilization, raising 200 billion annually for biodiversity. For example, take GEF itself. Okay, Global Environment Facility. Another important news was India's first analog space mission kicks off at Leh in Ladakh. Okay, so we'll see what is this analog space mission. Okay, so analog space mission is a terrestrial simulation designed to replicate the conditions of space exploration. Okay, so terrestrial simulation only. Okay, usually space mission means we'll have to go there. It's a Mars mission means we'll have to send something to Mars, or we'll have to go. Moon mission means we'll have to go, or we at least have to go to ISS. So here it is the terrestrial only. Terrestrial means in Earth only, but without going. So we'll be creating conditions. Some cubicle or something will be created, and in that we'll be mimicking. We'll be mimicking of what is it. For example, instead of going to Mars, instead of taking all the expenses, instead of that we can mimic something. We can make something which will be recreating the surface of Mars, and we can do the experiment. So that is analog space mission. Primary objective is obviously testing equipment only, and also studying the human behavior. So if you are making a human stay inside, that means without going to Mars itself, we will be able to know how this psychology is actually going. Okay, so like that, and it will also help to develop operational procedure for future space endeavors. Okay. So why it was in the news? Because India has developed its first analog mission, that is in Leh in Ladakh. That is Leh in Ladakh. November they have inaugurated. So the name is HAB1. It's a compact inflatable habitat. This is the HAB1. Okay. So inside this they have actually simulated the extraterrestrial atmosphere. There are some other missions are also there, which is having the same purpose. NASA's Chapier mission, Chapier means the crew health and performance exploration analog. This is basically mimicking the Martian environment. Martian means Mars environment. Okay. So Martian environment, NASA's Chapier mission. Another one is Hawaii space exploration analog and simulation. Again, this is also for Martian environment only. This is in Hawaii. This is in Hawaii. That is why Hawaii Space Exploration Analog and Simulation again from NASA. Another one is NEMO, NASA Extreme Environment Mission Operation. This is actually underwater habitat. This is actually underwater habitat known as Aquarius Reef Base. But still, again, here also astronauts will only be there. Astronauts and scientists will be there. So they are wanted to experience the same thing which is happening in space, but still it is kept under water only. So that is a purpose. Okay, so that is regarding the topics for today. Now let's move on to the prelims practice questions. So we can go to our website navigator.narayana.academy.com. So there one tab will be there, daily prelims quiz. So in that tab you can go to this particular date, 2nd November, and there you will be getting the questions. Even previous quizzes are also available. You can try that. First question, which of the following statement is or are correct regarding the global methane pledge? First statement, global methane pledge was launched during COP26 in Glasgow in 2021. That's correct only. It aims to reduce global methane emissions by at least 30% by 2030 from 2020 levels. That is also correct only. Another one, India is a participant in global methane pledge. India is not a participant in global methane pledge. That's actually a initiative by US. So correct answer is 1 and 2 only. Correct answer is 1 and 2. This is correct. COP26 in Glasgow. This is also correct. Reduce 30% by 2030. But India is not a member. India have our own projects. Other I've already mentioned that. Next one. Consider the following statements about Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. So Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve was recognized in 1986 and was the first biosphere reserve in India to be included in UNESCO's Man and Biosphere program. This is correct only. I've already mentioned this. Spans approximately 5,520 square kilometers across states of Tamil Nadu is there, Karnataka is there, Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh is not there. Kerala will be the right answer. Kerala. So this statement is wrong. Second statement is wrong. So the reserve includes protected areas like Mudumalai. Mudumalai is in Tamil Nadu, Mukurthi is in Tamil Nadu, Silent Valley, that is in Kerala, Wayanad is in Kerala. Okay, so this statement is correct. Reserve is home to endangered Nilgiri tar and indigenous tribes such as Toda. Okay, Nilgiri tar is a very important endangered. Nilgiri tar as well as Neelakurni. These are identities of the Munnar region in Kerala, and also tribes like Toda and Irula. Okay, so second statement is wrong. First is correct. The third is correct and fourth is correct. So correct answer is B, 1, 3 and 4. Alright, next one. Let's move on to the mains question. So again, you can go to our website and there will be a daily mains practice question will be there. So you can click on that and you will be getting the question as well as approach. So examine the challenges and possible solutions for achieving lasting peace in Nagaland. Nagaland, when balancing regional autonomy with national integrity, you can directly start with Naga Peace process itself. Naga Peace process, and also you can, in the introduction itself, you can mention the context, like what is happening in Eastern Nagaland and what was their demand. So that you can directly mention here, and key stakeholders also you can mention in a one line. So in the body, you can mention what are the challenges. What are the challenges? What are the challenges in filing the peace project? Administrative issues are there, even the intra-group tensions are also there. UPSPA issues like UPSPA Act is also there. Possible solutions also, you have to balance this autonomy and development, like infrastructure should be developed, education, all these things should be developed, and also there should be a comprehensive peace treatment, peace agreement within comprising all this. The organization should be there. So these are, in this way you can frame a good answer, and also conclusion you can make it positively. What is the importance of this balanced approach? What are the advantages? All these things you can say it in the conclusion. Okay. All right. So that's it for today. So before winding up, let me introduce you to some of our products. One is a NCERT Foundation course. So NCERT Foundation course we are providing for the 10th, those students who have passed the 10th standard. So along with doing their inter courses, so you can prepare for IAS also, civil services also. So here we'll be mostly focusing on the basics like NCRT based courses only. And we also have advanced courses which will be providing for students who have passed the 12th standard. So they'll be studying for the degree. So along with the degree studies, we'll be providing civil service coaching also. And by the end of their academic year, they'll be ready to attend this examination. So this will be little more advanced. Basics will also be there, and also will be covering the advanced also, so that they'll be completely ready by then. We have products like daily newspaper read, where we'll be picking up the important articles from both Hindu as well as Indian Express, so that it will be easy for you to select this. You can directly read those articles instead of going through the entire newspaper. And also we have products like Samvad, where we'll be bringing in learn bureaucrats who are in the service, who have retired, and also people toppers talk, and all these things will be there, which will be obviously helpful for your preparation. Okay, so admissions are open. We have campuses at Hyderabad, Vijayawada, and Nellore. So both for both these courses. So whichever campus is convenient for you, you can opt for that particular campus. So that's it for today's daily news analysis. Thank you.